Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to thank you for coming back and listening to Mind Split Cafe. We got some really good stuff going on, some excitement with our future guests. Um, I want to take the time to thank everyone for listening and subscribing. This is a passion project of mine, and I'm truly grateful that we've got it off the ground. Having said that, you know my awesome co-host Matt. He's back with me with 610 Marketing.
Hey, Crystal, how are you today?
Hello, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Crystal Hernandez. It will be a year in August that I graduated with my master's in clinical mental health counseling with the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley here in Edinburgh. Um, so currently I'm working as a clinician with children. But again, I did just graduate. I also was one of the first to graduate with the behavioral health consultant program with UTRGV. It was under the direction of Dr. George. And again, we were the first class to do that.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
We're excited. We're going to get Dr. George on. He already committed. He's going to be on here in a couple episodes. So, yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
I'm super excited about that. I think the Crystal and Dr. George combination is going to be great for us and our listeners.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
But please continue. So you're part of Dr. George's first class. Go ahead.
Yes, I'll go into that briefly before we talk about our topic for today, which is the peripartum depression. What the behavioral health consultation program is basically bringing in primary health with mental health. So anywhere from your chronic illness, diabetes, high blood pressure. When you go to the doctor, they're always diagnosing, prescribing medication, but sometimes, clients might not always want medication as their first alternative. So with this program, we did work with mostly Hispanic, lower income families, and we did provide different options for them besides the medication to work with their mental health along with any type of the illness that they were dealing with. So it's a really interesting topic, and I know y'all will be talking about it a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal what you guys are doing. I think that is just massive because the turnover rate, and I know this is kind of off topic, but I wanted to add this in there. The turnover rate is super small when you go to a primary care physician and they refer you to a mental health. There's either a long wait or you just don't do it. You walk out that door and it slips your mind. So I think the way you guys are doing it and adding it into a primary care setting is phenomenal, and I think the conversion rate will just skyrocket after that. So I think that's great, and I can't wait for Dr. George to come on and both of you discuss that.
I agree 1,000%. Now, the question I have for you is, I mean, obviously you've got all these great things, you're spearheading them and you're working towards them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just getting started, which is exciting. But kind of dive into where the passion comes from. Like, is this always been something that you've dreamed of, doing since you were a little girl? Or like, where does this fire or this fuel come from to help the people that you help?
I think it has always been in me. I did not know exactly what I wanted to do, counseling. But I've always enjoyed helping others. It wasn't until maybe finishing undergrad in criminal justice when I started working with domestic violence. Mujeres Unidas here, with Rio Grande Valley, is when I sort of found that passion to where I want to help people who really need me, and that took me into the mental health field.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
And where did you grow up? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you went to UTRGV, which is my alma mater, but I went back when it was Pan Am, right? But
yeah,
where did you grow up?
I grew up in Edinburgh, McAllen.
Okay.
I was the first spring class to graduate UTRGV, so it was UTPA when I started. But yes, the first spring.
But you first class. And what high school? Where you said McAllen, Edinburgh?
I grew up. I graduated McAllen High School in 2012.
Nice. Well, congratulations. You're a Bulldog and you're a Vaquero. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm from Cherryland, Crystal. I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So you had a passion, you kind of developed it in school, right? You always knew you wanted to help people, but then you just kind of were molded into like, hey, let me go towards this direction.
I actually went for criminal justice because I wanted to be a police officer, but I think I am too shy and quiet and nice. So I was like, I'll just be a counselor.
Yeah, you do seem like you're really, really nice. I mean, this is the first time I met you, and I couldn't imagine you trying to arrest me. You know, you would just smile and you'd just be like, can you please put these back on? Like, can you put these handcuffs on, please?
I
You
think
know,
so.
so no,
You
but
just start giving out warnings instead of tickets.
yeah, all jokes aside, I'm sorry to give you this ticket, but I'm gonna have to. You know, so
Yeah,
no, but all jokes
exactly.
aside, so you developed this. You always knew you wanted to help somebody or help people, and then you kind of were, you know, it kind of veered you towards you were too nice to be a cop, like you said, and so now you're in the field that you're in. Um, what is a? I'm just curious. What is a gratifying day for you? Like in your industry, you go home and you say, man, Crystal, that was a great day today. What is that day?
Obviously, like I said, I'm just starting out in this field. I would eventually like to have my own private practice, but now a good day would be just for my clients to show up, for them to want to be there to help with their mental health, for them to take my um, my help, because I know it's hard to just ask for that help sometimes. So just seeing them walk in that door or giving me a phone call like, yes, I'll be showing up today, or thank you for your help today.
Mhm.
I think clients just showing up is what makes a good day for a counselor.
Yeah. And do you take private insurance or how does that work? Like, is it
Well, currently I am working under a government organization. Again, to be a counselor, you have to have a license,
okay?
LPCA or LPC once you're finished your hours. So it's a whole process.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I will, like I said, have my own private practice once I do complete all that. But now that I'm working with under an organization, um, I it's basically a nonprofit, so I don't charge,
Okay.
and it's again with children.
Well, yeah. Well, and I love that answer, but just moving forward, I try not to use the word hope
Mm,
and if and wish. If you have that in your mind and you have that as the destination for you and where you want to be, then
yes,
speak indefinite. Like, hey,
Be assertive.
one day I will have my own practice, or,
yes,
one day, I will be X, Y, and Z where I want to be. Don't put ceilings on yourself. Maybe I'll be my own practice. No,
You've
you,
done that.
you, you obtain the knowledge and the experience of what you're doing now, and then take that and
yeah.
start your own practice. And the world, the Rio Grande Valley will benefit from it. I can already see you make a better counselor than you do a cop. And so um the valley needs, individuals that care like you, and so there's definitely
Absolutely.
a niche down there for
Yeah,
individuals who care and want to help the community such as yourself.
Well, I'm gonna have a quick question before it slips my mind, and it's pertaining to what you said that what's a good day for you, and you mentioned that when your patient shows up. So
mhm,
that leads me to believe, and I've seen it before in other clinics, that a lot of patients will make their appointment but not go.
yeah.
Do you see that often? I mean, what's the rate of, like, say you get 20 patients that book appointments, how many are gonna show up on a normal day?
Um, the only experience I have to share with this is my internship, which was at an actual counseling center. Maybe half of them wouldn't show up.
Wow.
They would, make their appointments, but the day of, usually, maybe like an hour before, they would just,
Mm.
cancel, which was
What
tough.
was there reasoning behind it? Like, just out of curiosity, like, obviously the valley is a lower socioeconomic community. Like, let's just be fair. Like, that's what it is, right? So transportation,
Mm,
lack of babysitter, possibly, um, you know, what kind of reasoning were they giving you as far as why they couldn't make the appointment?
The thing is, those are a lot of obstacles for some people, but now, especially after the pandemic, everything is mostly on Zoom, or
Oh.
some are even over the phone. So those are a little bit harder to, give an excuse as to why they didn't show
Mm-hmm.
up. Sometimes maybe no internet, no phone or computer at that time.
Do you think pride comes into play?
It could be pride. It could also be it's not a priority.
Mm,
Time, in their life. When someone is depressed, that's maybe the last thing that they might want to do is go talk to someone.
yeah.
Um, it just depends on the person and their situation, which is why I say a good day for a counselor is when their
Somebody
clients
shows
go
up.
up and want to do that work.
You know, like I said, I just met you today, but just given your aura and what, what you've shared thus far, anybody would be a fool to stand you up for an appointment, because I really feel like I get the feeling that you can help tremendously.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
I know a friend of mine who's a homicide detective. He hasn't shared a lot of stories, but the one thing that he has shared with me is that it affects him. He tends to take the job home, right? And I'm not going to get into the gruesome details of what he shared with me, but a lot of the times it's hard for him to turn that switch off, and
Yeah.
he takes it home and he has nightmares, and I'm not going to say his name, but it's definitely something that the job affects you.
Hmm.
It crosses that line from being professional to crossing over to the personal side, right? To the
Yeah.
personal, your personal life. Is that
Yes.
something that happens in your industry too, where you can take it home and it affects you, like your moods, or?
It can happen if the counselor is not setting those boundaries with themselves or practicing their self care.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in grad school, that's the first thing that they talk about is setting those boundaries with clients, setting boundaries with family members, confidentiality, and that self care. So you as a counselor, if you're getting all this, loaded onto you, you're gonna have to find that separation to, okay, I'm leaving work at work, it's time to go home and be with my family. You
Mm.
can't take it home with you and go do things that you enjoy doing to kind of recharge.
Are there exercises that maybe, because I have a problem with that, and I'm in marketing, right? I have my own marketing and PR firm, and I tend to take my work home with me. Like it's on my mind all the time.
Mhm.
So for somebody that like me, and I'm not asking for free advice or anything, but are there exercises that people like myself can practice to where I don't, I can shut it off, or I can kind of,
Stop the intrusive thoughts.
yeah.
Mhm. It really depends. It's a lot of meditation, physical exercise, and that's some of the things that we would tell the clients when we did the behavioral health consultation. Find those things that you enjoy doing when you get home. Do it with your family, do it alone, friends. But again, it's mostly meditation, deep breathing. Yoga is another one that might help.
Love yoga.
I want to compound real quick on what you said, that checking your baggage at the door when you get home. Um, Being a counselor, and again, I know there's confidentiality and you can't really say much, but has there been like one patient that you've been trying to help, that you made a connection with, and they either go the wrong direction and they stop going to counseling, or they're just not doing what they need to? Do you think about that when you get home? Do you have a connection with the patient that just drives you crazy, that they're not doing what they're supposed to, or they're going the wrong direction, and affects your home life?
There has been a couple where I will think about after, they leave, and I think about what else I can do to help them.
Of course.
But again, as a counselor, you can't really put that much guilt on yourself because you have no control over what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing outside of the counseling session. You can provide these resources and tips and things for them to do, coping skills. But in the end, when they leave, it's on them to do their homework, to do whatever the counselor asks. And again, that is something I had to learn throughout the program and experience, because as an undergrad, when I worked as a case manager with behavioral health, I tended to go over like above and beyond for my clients, and that was a toll on my mental health. So
That's
again, it's setting those boundaries.
yeah, that's beautifully said. Like I think you're totally right. And I'm gonna try and take a page out of your book. I kind of meditate. I try to meditate every morning. The exercise thing, it's not really in my bag. It's not in my wheelhouse. I probably should do it a little bit more often. But I'm definitely I'm gonna heed your words of advice. I'm gonna try and do like a separation of church and state, so to speak, like professional, career, and then personal life, come home to the wife and the dog, right? And so yeah, I
I was
definitely
just
need to
about
do
to
that.
say your wife and dog are gonna appreciate that one.
Yeah, my dog at least. I don't know about my wife, but yeah.
I know we had just pretty much a general conversation of Crystal and her experiences and her life as a counselor, but I know Crystal wants to discuss a burning desire of hers, and it's something that she's passionate about. And I've read a lot about it because of Crystal. Not I've read the outline Crystal has given me, and it's opened my eyes to a lot because I was in the dark with this type of diagnosis or mental health issue. It's postpartum depression.
This is a little bit of a new passion. Again, when I was working with the program at a clinic, I did notice a lot of the women in the RGV were suffering a lot with postpartum depression, but they did not know it, or they would not seek help. Um, During this time when I was finishing up grad school, I was also a brand new mom. I had my son, my first child. So I was, getting connected with whole, being a mother. Um,
Hmm.
so postpartum depression, which is changed to the term peripartum depression now, um, is feelings of depression or sadness that can happen during the pregnancy or after giving birth. I didn't know it was during pregnancy, but yeah, the peripartum depression happens while you're pregnant as well.
Wow. I mean, is it guaranteed that every woman will suffer from it, or does the likelihood increase the more kids that you have? And the reason I ask is because my mom suffered from it. She had 3 kids, and she suffered from it the most after my baby sister was born. And
Okay.
my sister, the same thing. She's got 3 kids.
Mhm.
She suffered from it more after her third child. Um, you know, is that a thing, or is that just a Palmquist thing?
Well, unfortunately, nobody, really knows why women get peripartum, postpartum depression. I don't believe it happens, after a certain amount of kids. It could happen after your first, it could happen after your fifth
Hmm.
kid.
It's good to
Maybe
know.
your mother kind of saw the symptoms grow a little bit more with, each sibling.
She did.
So
She
maybe, yeah,
did.
maybe that could be something that happened.
She
Um,
helped my sister. She helped my sister identify it
mm,
this just recently. She was like, you've got to, you've got to get some help, or this is what you're going through, and these are a couple of things that you could
mhm,
probably, she identified the triggers. She
yeah.
saw the similarities. So she did help my sister.
That's good. Yeah, it's something that a lot of women will pass off as, oh, it's just normal. I just gave birth. It's part of the process, the hormones. But
Hmm.
there is a little bit of a difference, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more. But yeah, it's just the peripartum depression is more feeling that extreme sadness, anxiety, isolation, changes in your sleep, energy, and appetite, which you are already feeling as a parent, right? The changes in sleep, appetite, energy because you have a newborn. The important part that you can tell when it is peripartum depression is the time. So it's usually after 2 weeks. If you continue having these symptoms, that's when you might want to go speak to your primary care provider or a doctor.
So when you're starting to experience some of the symptoms of it, you said it happens during pregnancy. It can. Is
Mhm.
there any way to alleviate this, or is there something that can be done to minimize it? Or once the baby is born, you don't have the baby blues. And can you explain the baby blues a little bit too? I know that's a kind of a thing, and it kind of seems like most women or a large percentage of women experience that. Um, can
Yes.
you touch on that a little bit?
So the baby blues, I don't want to say is a little more normal, but it's something that happens more with women after birth. Baby blues is a week or two that you feel, some of the crying spells, the restlessness, anxiety, irritability, and it will go away with time. So a week you can be having the crying spells or anxiety, 2 weeks. But after those 2 weeks go by, if you see it, getting worse, if you feel like you're thinking of suicide, death, or wanting to harm your baby or end your baby's life, those are the top red flags of peripartum depression. That's when you would need to go seek help with your doctor. For the baby blues, like I said, they do go away, but you can also do what we're talking about, the mental
Mm-hmm.
health coping skills, the meditation, going out for a walk with your baby, with your family. Family support is a big one as well. And it's just those coping skills that your counselor or sometimes your doctor can provide to you as well.
Walking in that Texas heat going on right now when it's an average of 115, that might, take off some of that
From walking around
pregnancy
the
weight
house.
too, right? So you're exercising and you're losing weight and you're kind of working off those baby blues, and
Mhm.
so it's kind of two birds with one stone type thing. But that's such great advice that I never knew. I mean, obviously I'd heard of postpartum, but I never knew that baby blues was a thing, And so thank you for enlightening me on that. That's something
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah,
take away with this.
off camera, she mentioned that it's like 70% of women experience baby blues, and they don't know what it is. They just kind of brush it off. And I kind of think that's the same with a lot of mental health issues. People just brush it off. It'll go away. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but that's a large number. 70% of women are going to experience baby blues.
I think what's the scary part is some, women go through it alone. I'm fortunate enough to have family, my husband, to be there to support me. But think about those single moms, moms who don't have family, don't have friends. That's tough because a family member or husband can say, "Hey, you've been acting this way. I've noticed you've been acting this way. I've noticed you've been isolated from your baby." Um, you know, and it's good to have that support. Also having a mom support, a group of moms that you feel comfortable with, can be very helpful when feeling any baby blues or the peripartum depression as well.
So I want to kind of touch on the first part of what you said, right? Like approaching your significant other. You personally are blessed to have the
Mhm.
support system, right? The husband, the family, like I'm thankful for that, and I'm happy for you, right? There's some people that don't have that support system, right? Obviously, circumstances, baby daddy drama, whatever. Like we could create a scenario that goes either way. But let me ask you this: for the husband that is kind of like on eggshells with dealing with the whole situation, not trying to make the wife or the partner mad, but also recognizing that there's something wrong.
Mhm.
What is maybe some how do you suggest to the male component of approaching their significant other or partner in a way that doesn't, one, there's already kind of like an irritability maybe, and so now you're hearing it from your partner, and then you automatically get defensive and say, no, that's not me. I'm not that way. That you're crazy. That's loco, like whatever, right? Like, how do you suggest preparing the male to help kind of like say, hey, sweetheart, like there's something going on, you know? What would you suggest?
That's just what they have to do, is they have to go and talk to their wives or girlfriend, whatever, and let them know, I am worried for you. I'm worried for your safety. I'm worried about our baby safety. I
Mhm.
think you should go talk to someone. And that is the main thing, as to why some people will go to counseling, because a loved one is telling them this is
Fantastic.
going on and you need to go get help.
That
Without the partner, telling their significant other, this is what you're going through, we need help, the mother is never going to get help. And
mhm.
there are consequences for that. She can hurt herself, she can hurt her baby, and she can hurt anyone else in the household. And there
Yeah.
has been situations where this does happen.
Do fathers go through this? I know fathers, the father or the
Ooh,
partner are
great
going
question.
through something with their wife and their depression, but do the fathers experience depression or fatigue or something during this? I know it's kind of a weird question considering
Mhm.
the father isn't giving birth, but is there some sort of connection where the father starts to feel this or the partner?
Yes, there actually is. Fathers do get can get the peripartum depression. Um, Sometimes it is the new fathers that may experience symptoms as well. The anxiety, isolation, changes in eating or sleeping, fatigue, and also an estimated of 4% of fathers actually experience depression in the first year after
Mm.
having their child.
What
Um,
about within the first 22 years? Like,
I hope
You're still
not.
feeling it, Matt?
yeah, my kid is 22, so I've got anxiety and depression all the time. So yeah, like what are the stats on that one? Am I an anomaly?
I think I think you'll be okay.
Just a couple more years. Give it a couple more years,
Give
Matt.
it a couple more years and I'll
Fine.
get out of my baby blues. Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got about 3 or 4 more minutes left, and is there anything that we haven't touched on that maybe you feel is like, hey guys, you haven't touched on this. Is there something else you want to share that you feel is like the key
Um,
point or the main thing that we need to not overlook?
don't be afraid to speak up, especially when you go to your doctor's office. The thing that I noticed after I had, my child, mom only goes to her 6-week checkup once, and baby goes, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Hmm.
until, they're a certain age. But mom only goes one time to the doctor. And that's the only time where you're able to, check your mental health after giving birth.
Hmm.
So don't be afraid. I want to tell to whoever is listening, don't be afraid to mention these symptoms, no matter if it's been a day or 2 weeks, 3 months that you're feeling these symptoms,
Hmm.
to bring it up to your doctor, um, because they know what to do, what resources to give you, what phone numbers to give you if you are suffering any of these symptoms. It can be the peripartum depression.
Amazing.
Um, Also, there are, a couple national suicide prevention lifeline numbers that they can provide to you. Again, you're not alone, and just knowing the signs and the support that you have, and encouraged to seek help if needed.
You were a
That's great
blessing.
advice, and
You were a
and
blessing. Yeah.
you said something off camera too about being honest with your counselor, because I know a lot of people, they go in there and they give a shorthand story because they feel ashamed or they're scared. That's one of the things that a lot of counselors have told me, and I love that you brought this up. Just be honest with your counselor. Tell them everything. It's a safe harbor. They're there to help you. And do you find, I know we're running out of time, but do you find people that don't kind of give you the whole truth and it's hard to work with them or it's hard to help them?
Yeah. Of course, they want to paint a pretty picture to maybe not do as many sessions, or maybe get over it, be done with the counseling. But again, you're the one in the end that's going to be hurting yourself. If there's something that is, you're dealing with it in your life, and it's affecting your relationships with loved ones, you're going to want to go to counseling and seek that help. and it's for you, it's for the client. That's what we're here for
Mm.
them to have a better life.
Well,
That's
I'm
good
a better
advice.
man because I got to meet you and got to sit down for the last 30 minutes and talk to you, and the knowledge and the little nuggets that you shared with me, I'm going to take that and I'm going to continue my journey of enlightenment and improvement.
I'm gonna need proof that you did the yoga. I need
I
proof.
Hey, Chris, I'm 6'10", so
Yeah, that's
I
what I
don't
want
do-
proof.
I really can't sit Indian style. My legs are too long and I'm not flexible. So you're just gonna have to just trust me when I say that.
I trust
The
you, man. I got
meditation.
you.
The meditation and the breathing I do already. So I'm definitely I've tried yoga before, and it's a lot of it has to do with breathing and
Yes.
and so back straight, chest out,
Mhm.
open up the airwaves, and so yeah,
And
so I
one is
definitely do that.
journaling. Journaling is very good as well. That's one of the coping skills a lot of counselors use.
Fantastic.
I don't journal. I just have a to-do list. I gotta start journaling now.
Well, speaking of a to-do list, we got to send a shout out to the Shack Supplements with multiple locations in the Valley, and Health Prep Meals and Tex-A Mortgage. Go see Sal. And yeah, so thank you so much again for joining the show this week. I'll let Chris kind of sign off, but like I said, I will take these nuggets and help me improve my coping in day to day. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you
Yeah,
all for having me.
yeah, absolutely, Matt. Thank you for holding us together as always. I love that you're on here with me, man. You make it fun. Crystal, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to have you on again down the way. Maybe join you up with Dr. George. I think that's going to be a great episode. I think you guys mesh really well. So I do appreciate it. I look forward to chatting with you again. To the listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. This one will be dropped on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we'll have a new episode. Keep us in mind when you're looking for podcasts. We're on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, all the major ones. We appreciate the love. Thank you for our sponsors again. Couldn't do it without you guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
I saw what you did there with keep us in mind. That was pretty clever. We'll see you next week, guys. Take care.